What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Showdown, your Vibes podcast. Got a good buddy of mine today. We're just gonna sit here and drink a couple beers and chat, just kind of what he's got going on. He's running a successful landscape company and building some houses, and he's about to have a baby. So got him here just kind of get his feels on things, his vibe. So welcome, Mr. Cole McRae. How you doing, bud?
Doing well.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in, hanging out. Yeah.
I'm glad we get to take it easy and drink a couple beers.
Yeah, talk. It's a nice way to end the day. I do like doing these nighttime podcasts. I've done several of them, and it's a little more lax. A lot of people they're not too terribly free during the middle of the day to kind of just hang out and kick it, but these after work podcasts typically end up pretty good. So where you been running around today?
Oh, this is now peak season for us, so I'm all over the place these days. I'm either in Nashville or Franklin looking at jobs, or I'm, running to see if my guys have jacked something up on a project, or I need to go cool a homeowner down. But it's okay. It's being a business owner. Everything is different every single day.
Yeah, I feel like
especially my line of work.
Yeah, I feel like being a business owner, you're just constantly putting out fires. You know what I mean? You've got employees to deal with, you do have your clients to deal with, and then you've got just a shitload of equipment to deal with as well too. That's always breaking down. You got to get some new stuff, and so take us back on that. Little Cole McRae running around, wild man. When did you first hop on that mower and kind of start from there and take us through that journey a little bit?
So I can give you a little backstory on myself and just kind of where we're from. Just a little backstory. So, originally from North Florida.
Oh, cool.
All my family lives there now, still. So my dad was in the Marines when I was born. Didn't know what he wanted to do with his life, obviously. So, went through college, became an electrical engineer. We moved to Texas. So, he was in some kind of engineering program. We traveled. So, we were there for 3 years, kind of right outside of the Houston area. Then we moved to Chattanooga. So, we lived there till I was about 10. And then, brought us to the beautiful land of Dixon County.
Okay.
So we've been here ever since. My dad worked with DuPont, which is now Comores.
Okay, in Jayville.
Yep, in Jayville. Okay. They closed down, which is in Comores. I probably think that I got kind of I think one of the big questions I get asked a lot is like, why do you do what you do? Why are you an entrepreneur? What drives you to do these things? So, probably when I was in 6th grade, I kind of started racing motocross, competitively. And, it was something that I enjoyed a lot. It was, high speed, dangerous.
Especially at that age.
Yeah. So played a little baseball, and I was like, man, this team sport thing is just not for me. The individual thing is way more my style. So, we dove heavy into that. Parents made a huge financial commitment because obviously that kind of stuff is very expensive. But
money and time on that one.
Yeah, money and time, man. Traveled all over the country. Last 2 years I did it, I think, whereas I was probably 17 and 18. So right there at the end of high school. And it was.
So where were you racing?
Everywhere. I mean, Texas.
Oh wow.
Minnesota. All over the southeast,
so you
northeast.
Just load that bad boy up.
Yeah, man. A lot of the times we would go, we'd go for national events. So we'd go for a whole week and race.
Wow.
So that was kind of at the end of my career, I'd say. The past the last 3 to 4 years of that. But it was like any kind of professional athlete. I was kind of in that stage. Like, obviously, I was a high school student, but. I remember every single morning I would get up at 6 a.m. And, we don't have to, I don't think back then you had to be at school like 7:30 or something like that. Yeah. So I'd either ride a 30-minute moto in the morning, or I would run probably 3 to 5 miles every single morning.
Where would you ride?
I had a track behind my house. Okay. Yeah. So we'd get up.
So did you have neighbors?
No. Well, I did have one neighbor. Yeah. Literally, the sun is barely coming up. I'm out there just ripping it, But, that all came into an end, I think 2011, broke my back. So
doing that?
Yeah, doing that.
Okay.
There's actually a YouTube video if you want to look
way.
it up. Yeah, Cole McRae wreck, I think, something like that.
Definitely going to have
some
to
dude hits me in the air and flips me around backwards. I land on my ass. Yeah. So I broke like one, two,
Yeah.
three, or I broke like 4 vertebrae in my back, and then had to get it all fused together.
On your lower back, upper back?
Lower back, yeah, all the
Okay.
way down to the bottom. So that kind of ended the career. We had, I had a
Yeah, I'd
motor
say
home,
so.
about 5 bikes, and then my mom was like, "No, that's it. Pull the plug." So
Yeah.
we sold everything.
As mamas do on that one.
Sold everything.
So so you broke it and you had it fused back to, were you in like a full body cast?
No, I was in like a lower
Well, yeah, like just
low.
like
It was like from your top of your
sternum?
chest,
Okay.
yeah, down to. It was not that intense of a
Okay.
cast
Okay.
compared to when I broke my neck. That thing was
Okay.
intense. But that kind of leads us into where I started cutting grass. So I started probably 16 years old, right there when I started driving. A little bit before, my dad bought me a mower. Well, helped me buy a mower, and I kind of lined up a couple yards, and he'd drive me to him, and he would help me. Obviously, we'd cut grass. He'd help me. He'd let me keep all the money, but all that money that I made, I dumped it back into racing. So,
Okay.
like I remember very vividly, like I was racing 2 bikes. I had 2 race bikes and 2 practice bikes. So my 2 race bikes, I had to pay for suspension on them. They were $1,200 each to get the suspension done. So, that was something that I saved up from cutting grass to pay for that. But I'd say from there, it just kind of grew as I went through high school. I started kind of my entrepreneurial journey there, trying to learn to prospect and get new clients and things like that. So, it was very interesting. And then we went through, as I went into college, I kind of continued. I had 2 buddies of mine that worked for me.
Where'd you go to college?
Austin P.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to Columbia State for a year, I think. Yeah, a year, because I broke my back. So Jacqueline went with me, my wife. Kind of drove me to school and back.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
Girl, yeah. Was
And
that
she
before?
took
That was before y'all were married,
took
right?
classes with me too. Like, she couldn't.
Dang.
She couldn't stand being away from me. But after that, went to Austin P. So I had I had a couple buddies work for me, and then funny thing, me and my dad bought a vending machine business when I was about
Okay.
I was junior. I was probably about 20.
That's a pretty decent. It literally prints money.
Yeah. Well, I thought so. So I had my landscape business, and at that point in time, all we were doing was really cutting grass. And then had the vending machine business, and that was probably a rough year for me. I would say I probably worked the most I've ever worked time wise. I remember I'd get up at about 3 to 4 in the morning, and I'd go stock all the vending machines. So it'd probably take me 2 to 3 hours to stock all the vending machines. And then I would either go to school if I had classes, or I'd go cut grass, one or the other. And the days that I went to school, I usually went to school to about 1 or 2, and then came home and cut grass till dark. So, I was running on a very short amount of time, but I was doing it 6-7 days a week. Yeah.
Fucking speed, man.
So we realized that the vending machine business was, not all it was cracked up to
Sure.
be. So we
How many
sold
machines did y'all end up having?
Man, we had all the machines in Crestview. We had all the machines in the middle school here in Dixon, like the 6th grade building and the 7th and 8th grade
Did you sell
building.
that to Rampaul?
Rampaul.
Okay.
Yeah, Rampaul bought it from me.
Okay.
So, we didn't make any money. I
Sure.
think we sold it to Rampaul exactly for what we bought it for. Made a
But you
couple.
learned something, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about, learning a little bit. So.
Yeah.
But from there, I'd say I got kind of out of college, got my degree in, business management. I don't know if I could go back to my younger self. I would probably say do not go to college. It's a waste of your money. Yeah. I would rather have gone to a very successful entrepreneur and had my parents pay him what they were paying for college, which I don't think they paid for college because I had the Hope Scholarship. But at the same time, like, hey, pay this guy, or I'll work for free just to learn. I think I'd be light years ahead now in the aspect of
Especially
business.
you haven't already started it before. You knew kind of what you wanted to do. There's so many people that they go to college just to go to college. You know what I mean? And me, I changed my major 4 times. And I think I read a stat that was like 75% of people who graduate college don't do anything in their major. You know what I mean? And they're mountains in debt.
Yeah.
But, you had your start cutting grass, and I think that would be a fantastic idea. That's some conversation that kids need to have with their the parents?
I think that, and I've thought this for the past couple of years, well, longer than that, but I think that, and this might be something that I do in the future, hold an after-school class for people who think they want to run their own business. I think one thing that we're not taught in high school and middle school is financial literacy.
At all.
How to handle your money. I know friends now that don't know how to handle their money.
Sure.
But, that, and then just the whole aspect of business, like, how do you go about starting a business? Do you need an LLC? Do you, what are things that you look at? How do you prospect for people? How do you get in business? How do you make that business happen? And then how do you collect the money and deal with the money on going forward and growing that business? So I think there's obviously a huge demand for that. And right now, our, people who are in the skilled labor, there's a huge shortage of it. I know I see it in our business now. We're looking for a couple people to come to work for us right now. Hardscape supervisor, as well as, shifting maybe a little landscape foreman in the future. But, they're hard to find. People think that, hey, we can make some money on Instagram and Facebook and sit in our parents' basement until we're 45. Not everybody thinks that way, but,
Understood.
People are...
Well, you got them Biden bucks doling out, too,
what
I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think kids are kicked on their ass like they used to in the past and say, hey, you need to go make a living and move out on your own. I think there's a little more... hate to say it's a little more coddling going on.
100%.
Than the way I was raised and probably the way you were raised, too.
Yeah,
so.
The tit babies are at an all-time high at the moment, and you can help me with this. What is it? Hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men create hard times create strong men. Just that cycle of stuff, you know what I mean? And I see that now it's not every kid, I've got some some family with some younger kids, and their parents are teaching them right. They're getting out and working and doing all that stuff, but there is not to knock the people that make money. I mean, we were just talking about social media. I mean, they can do it. And our perspective on that, on this what do you call them? Millennial age. I guess that's what we are, but whatever's below us, they're
Gen X.
Yeah, they're there's a false sense of reality there. There's a false sense of hope, kind of, and there's no oversight as far as how they operate. They just get sucked in these rabbit holes of this just social media glamorama type deal, and they don't ever expose themselves to the outside world. They just get stuck, and they don't know how to handle their emotions, anything like that. So, but for the way your journey's going, man, I mean, you just, like most successful entrepreneurs, just knew that it could end in disaster, but stuck your neck out, and you're doing it how you want it to be done too. You know what I mean?
It could end in disaster tomorrow.
Exactly. Every single day you're walking on the edge of a cliff. I mean, who knows what could happen? And but you also get to operate the way you want to, which I think is everybody's dream.
Yeah.
Nobody's dream is to be a shift worker forever.
Yeah.
Nobody's dream is to work at McDonald's forever. That's when they lay their head down. That's not what they want to do. I don't think anybody's dream is to really work for somebody, or if they do, to have limited flexibility. In sales, it's a great spot because you do have flexibility so long as you produce, which is, pretty much holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And you're playing all those roles. So I would love to know, kind of, for you to tell me a little bit more about how you kind of, it sounds like to me, for the most part, you kind of learned on the fly, but as far as some changes that went on, I mean, you're cutting grass with your dad, and then you're in and out of a vending machine business, and you're kind of, then you get back into the full blown in the grass, but obviously you're changing what you're having to do.
Correct.
You're going from just cutting grass and weed eating to some probably light landscaping, so on and so forth. Yeah. Did you have some, I guess, two-part question, how did you kind of handle those changes on the fly? I mean, and then did you have some maybe mentors that you picked up along the way, or?
Yeah, I mean, so probably take a step back. At the end of my college career, I didn't know if landscaping was what I wanted to do. I was very, very lost, kind of confused about it. So
What else would you have wanted to do?
I don't know. That's
Okay,
where
sure.
I was at. I didn't know if I was like,
Common question for you.
yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to do. So I went into financial services, obviously selling insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I'm real big about money, managing money, growing money. That's been one thing I've always been interested in. So
Who taught you that? Was it your dad? Or you just kind of
I
got
think
a knack of it?
I think what got me there was being. My parents made good money, but my dad was always very tight with me on money, and I didn't like that growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was scared to ask my dad for $10 to go to the movie theater on a Friday with some girls.
Sure.
So I was like, I don't like that. How can I make as much money as possible?
Yeah.
And then that kind of rolled into the whole money thing. So, I went to work for New York Life for 2 years. So I think I was probably 23, 24 at that point in time.
Pushing life insurance.
Yeah, man, just
That's
pushing
a
it.
grind, dude.
Tell me about it. So I had some good months. I think that was a great thing for me to do in my life because it taught me how to hustle more. It taught me sales. I got connected to the Grant Cardones of the world, people like that who are very into teaching sales training. So I took some sales training courses. Ultimately, has helped me with my landscape company in the end.
Did you do Cardone University?
I did Cardone U.
Okay.
I had it for probably 2 years. I mean, I've been through all that.
Cool.
I don't think I implement quite a bit of it in my business now on the sales process side. But obviously, there's things that I could do better on a daily basis. But I think kind of where the turning point for me was when I broke my neck in, I don't know, 2017 or something like that. So that kind of put me I was in a funk for probably a whole year. How'd it happen? Mm-hmm. So doing some riding on Razor side by side, rolled it downhill, didn't have my seatbelt on, came out of it, landed on top of me. So I they called it a unstable fracture. So I had one vertebrae in my neck go completely behind the other vertebrae. So my spine was in an S.
Jesus.
So I had I think it was like a 40 or 50% chance of being paralyzed after surgery.
Oh my God.
Something crazy. So, surgery went fine. Obviously I'm great. I am now. But, I like I said, I was in a funk for probably a whole year. Didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. When I went back to selling insurance, I hated it. I hated the grind of it. And at that point in time, all I had was landscape company. So I still had the landscape company the whole time. Weren't doing huge numbers or anything. I had probably 3 full-time guys working for me. The help was shit. I mean, it was terrible.
Just not showing up.
Not showing up, making excuses, doing half-ass work. The list goes on and on and on. So, after that happened, I was all right, look, I'm 100% in this landscape company. This is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to do. We're going to grow this thing. So I'd probably say the past 3 years has been the push. So that's when I talk to people, I'm kind of like, hey, I've owned my landscape company for, going on 11 years now, but really only been in business for about 3.
Okay.
So
Because you were just dragging a trailer with some mowers and some weed eaters
correct.
kind of before.
That's
and
it. Yeah. We're doing a little
picking
bit,
up some
doing
people
a
on the
little
side
bit
of
of
the road
landscaping
now, yeah.
here or there, a little shrub trimming, a little mulching. But, from there, I'd probably say that's where we really got heavy into the landscape installs, hardscape installs, the design aspect of the business, design build. So that aspect of it is really fun when you can go and sit with these clients and talk to them about the vision of their backyard and incorporating a pool into it or incorporating outdoor features into it, and also the projects are a lot bigger. I mean, we're talking anywhere from 10,000 plus. The number is unlimited on what I've seen people spend on their outdoor living spaces. So that past 3 years has been a huge learning curve for me because like I said, all this stuff is self-taught. I didn't have a landscape mentor to teach me this stuff. I didn't go to school to learn landscape design, landscape architecture. So I've learned it all through courses and reading books and so on and so forth.
So are you isn't it fun though to take on that? I mean, granted, you're still kind of in the box. No, it's not actually a box. You're in the realm of landscaping, but going from cutting grass to trimming some shrubs to running heavy machinery, digging, design. I mean, that's a whole new ballpark there. And taking on that challenge is exciting. I mean, it's chaos is what it is, but chaos helps you grow. Yeah. That's it. You cannot fucking grow without chaos, or else you're just living in your comfort zone and nothing's happening. Yeah. So you took on. I mean, are you doing AutoCAD and stuff, or is that you doing that, or how are you doing the designs for it?
I outsource that.
Okay,
so 3D. Yeah, I mean, I have too much shit on my plate as it is. So anything 3D, I do 2D renderings, which I do a lot of them for landscape installs. So we go meet with the client. I have a free consultation, talk with them about design. Anything I would say any project that consists of a hardscape, so a patio or a wall or something like that, I try to sell them on a 3D design. That way they can visually see it.
Okay. Because you don't have them completely sold yet.
Correct.
At a 2D draw for the most part. No. I mean, maybe they are, but...
I mean, I sell them on the 2D draw, so they pay me for my time.
Right.
But, no, I don't have them sold on that. But I've had clients before that have been like, hey, the 2D is cool, but can we get it in 3D? I'm like, yeah, pay the $375. Let's do the 3D. Pay it. We'll do it.
And get it put together. And have you... So my son got these this Oculus VR face mask. Have you seen any?
Belgard, so one of the suppliers that we use, they are starting that.
Cool.
So they will send it to you, you design it, and you go to the person's backyard and let them put it on, and they can walk around in there. It's cool shit.
I bet.
It's cool.
I bet. I was talking to an architect the other day and told him, my son got one. He was like, "Oh man, we use those for architect all the time because they just design the building in the realm of VR. Yeah. Like they've got their wands and they can put their buildings there and the doors. I mean, it's like they're literally walking through it. I mean, that's going to be a huge game changer in sales for the most part that I see for sure. Oh yeah.
I mean, if you got a customer, so, I mean, for me, I'm like, okay, I could sell this project for $100, or I could sell it with VR for $150 and do the exact same thing.
Yep.
Because there is no questions on what is going on.
Yep.
I sell it, or if they don't like it, I can make super easy changes and make them walk through it again.
A couple clicks and they'll change it. Put a tree here, put a shrub there,
put some lighting here.
Yeah, or it'll get to the point. They'll get it to the point to where, I mean, it's got hand control things. To where they could probably pick up a tree and just move it and set it. You know what I mean? Here, put this on. Spend a weekend in your virtual backyard, and you put it how you want to, and they'll send you the file, and there it goes.
We've seen a huge shift, I think, over the past 5 years of the outdoor living space.
Okay.
Back, I'd probably say past 5, before 5 years ago, 2010 era. I would say you weren't really seeing people dump a lot of money in their outdoor living space. But now I feel like it is an extension of the home if you set it up the correct way. So, you're seeing a lot more people have larger back porches, more of kind of a flow of the indoor to outdoor area, which we enjoy it obviously because you're doing the work. But obviously, I think it's really cool, and it's a really big selling point for people in the future if they're trying to sell their home.
Well, having that space too, man, because I think, and I was talking to some realtors about this too, is that I can even see that getting super intense through 2020, where people are obviously they were stuck in their house and they kind of realized that they would like some changes there. And that outdoor entertainment, that outdoor fireplace, that outdoor kitchen, that outdoor patio is kind of what they need. And I really do think that brings the house together too, man. Yeah, I mean, if you can, especially if you've got kids and you've got a place to where you can kind of just relax outside, let the kids run around, grill out there, eat a little bit, throw a pool in for sure. So kind of, I guess, in these changes, from hitting it, getting into some bigger type work over the past 3 years, what's been kind of the biggest challenge for you so far? I mean, just throughout the whole business.
I'd probably say this last year has probably been the biggest challenge for me has been letting go. Letting go of tasks.
Yeah.
Letting go of me not having to micromanage. I think I'd gotten burned on it in the past, trying to back off and not be so involved in the business. So I think that's been huge for me for the success of the company and the growth of the company. I think that moving forward, I need to let go more.
Okay.
And one thing I've really worked on is finding strengths of the guys that work for me, and allowing them to really fine tune that strength. So like for instance, I got a new guy that has come to work for me. He's probably about a month to 2 months in. So I've had him running hardscapes with some guys. I've had him running landscape installs with some guys. I've had him running cutting grass. He's good at all of them. So, at that point in time, I try to have about once a month sit-down meetings with the guys, one-on-one, talk about what they like about the company, what they want to see changed, what they want to see out of me, what they want to see out of their other coworkers. So, and then also, what do they enjoy? And I constantly ask that. What do you enjoy doing? What do you enjoy doing? And a lot of times they'll give you a bullshit answer.
Sure.
I enjoy this one day, but I enjoy this the next.
Sure.
And I'm the same way, but I also see what are they performing at the best. So, obviously if one guy's really good at hardscapes, but he hates doing it, he's probably going to do hardscapes because he's good at it, because he's going to like it. Sure. If he sees the finished product and he's really good at it. So, I try to then place those individuals in those areas of the business where they can continue to hone that craft. So I think that's been a really big step for me, because I'm able to not be on those jobs so often.
You're working on the business, not in the business.
Correct. Working on the business, not in the business. So I'll kind of go, the start of a project, I'll go there, run them through what's going on. Obviously we have every single morning we have morning meetings. So guys are supposed to be there at 7. Funny thing too, if my guys are late, they got to do 25 push-ups. I got one boy he does 50 to 75 push-ups a week. And I count them out
I bet he's getting swole.
I know, that's what everybody else says. I count them out like Major Payne, just
whoa, biggie.
Yeah. But we kind of talk about what's going on for that day, and then where we're at on our projects, what we have coming up in the next weeks. But I'm able to go over at the beginning of a project, show them what's going on. I try to give them as much information as possible.
Communication.
So that I think that was a problem for me in the past. That's one thing that has changed this year, and it's been huge because, for instance, right now we're doing a huge project in Hendersonville, and I wouldn't say there's that many moving parts, but we're doing like 1,000 square foot travertine patio with some retaining walls and some stairs and some water features in it and some lighting and stuff like that. I've probably been working on that site a total of 8 hours, me hands-on.
Sure.
And we're going on our second week over there. I think I had scheduled 10 days, and I think we're on day number 6 total there. So, they're going to do 90% of the work without me being on site,
watching over
them. Which, if they have questions, they'll FaceTime me and ask me. Okay. FaceTime is huge these days.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I can't even imagine being a business in 1970.
I know.
Like, nobody had cell phones. Like, you send your crew out for the day, like, hey, guys, here's what you're doing today. Good luck.
Don't screw it up.
Let me drive over to the gas station and sit there all day, and then drive back to the office and say, yeah, I did this work all day. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's an ever-changing world, man, and with you stepping out of the business, what's that step look like? Delegation. Nobody with this podcast, I'm already at the point where I'm sourcing social media managers, and people that will be able to at least help me or to edit the podcast. You know what I mean? Because I can't do it all. This is a no pay side gig that is building a foundation for something much, much bigger. But it's tough because I was looking at my analytics. People drop off at 11 and a half minutes. Yeah. We're at 30 right now. Yeah. We've probably got 7% of the same people listening, that started. Yeah. So that's why I started doing these clips. Obviously Joe Rogan's got these 3-hour podcasts, and I'm not trying to mimic him, but I also don't like to cut conversations short. So I want to be able to have it all, and now I've got all this material that I can chop up just like Gary Vee does. You can get 15 minutes, but you can do 50 different things with it.
Yeah, but also you get, I've done this before, especially with Gary Vee. It's like, hey, I heard this clip of it, but I know I listened to a little bit of this podcast. Let me go back and finish listening to the podcast because I heard that clip, but I did not remember listening to that.
And that clip was 45 minutes in, you know what I mean?
The clip is a catcher. Mm-hmm. So
just
real
quick,
we got to have some stuff in here where it's like grabs the attention of somebody.
Exactly right. And I think that most of the good stuff too. Yeah. The conversation doesn't get warmed up till like 15 minutes in. Mm-hmm. So people dropping off at 11 minutes are really missing the meat of the whole thing. So, where were we at? Oh, the next step for you. So I know you, play golf with you. You smash the shit out of the ball. Even with you broke your back and your neck, and you're still smashing it, dude.
Bionic man.
I know, right? He's just piecing part together, and he's killing it. So obviously, landscape has got so many different directions it can go, and the growth on it is infinite almost. So you're stepping out a little bit, getting your hands a little less dirty than they were before, not completely, but what's the next step for you in this stepping back? Where are you going to start dipping your fingers in? Where are you going with it?
So as you know, me and my dad started a new construction business. So we do development and new construction. So we started that last year. My biggest thing with looking at a business, and this is for any business, is if you want to start another business, and for anybody listening, I tell this to people all the time. If you have a job and you want to make more money, start a side hustle. Mm-hmm. I make really good money in my landscape company, and I have another business that is my side hustle. So if you're out there working a 9-to-5 for somebody, you have a lot of time left in the rest of your week to make an extra $500. Mm-hmm. So your goal should be to try to replace your income with your side hustle. And then if you want to get out of your 9-to-5, go to your side hustle and start another side hustle. Yep. So the home building was my side hustle. So, we started that, like I said, last year. I think we built like one house last year, and, we made some good money on it. Right now, currently, we have 2 out of the ground, one about to be out of the ground. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm always looking for ways to feed my other businesses. So obviously building homes feeds my landscape company because the home's got to have landscaping. It's got to have grade work. It's got to have, clearing the lot. It's got to have all these things. So, I got some stuff up my sleeve right now that I'm about to hopefully start another business here in July to August. Cool. That's going to feed my landscape company as well. And
that's how you do it, though, right? Yeah. And a lot of people don't get it. They're like, oh, like I can do this, but how do I get it to grow? And here's my whole thing. And I've known this, but I've never really had it put in my face until 2020. I think the coronavirus is, whatever you may believe about it, as shitty as it may have been, or as as unshitty as it may have been, or overemphasized, things happened, and it caused a lot of people to get creative about things. Oh yeah. And I think it was Grant. We can talk about him. He's just a wild dude, man. Grant Cardone is. Love him or hate him, you know what I mean? He's got some really good content out there, but I think that one of his big things, kind of in tandem with this content deal, is attention. Get attention. Just fucking put your be everywhere at all times, no matter what. And so that hit me like a ton of bricks, because my book, I'm in hospitality and insurance, and obviously that took a fucking cutthroat hit during Corona. So all these chainsaws I was juggling kind of just fell apart, and so I had to figure something else out. I was like, how can I get attention? boom, podcast, networking groups, trivia at the Furnace Brewing. Like, I don't get paid for any of that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's attention, and I don't really consider. I mean, it's hard work. It's obviously a shitload of time and a lot of action per se, but I enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's a very creative process to do that. And I think growing in that direction, people, the old ways of sales, they're changing, man. I mean, they're really, really changing as far as cold calls and cold emails and mailers. Like, you
can't get people
getting in front of people is so difficult because their attention span and
even with all that we have going on.
I know
how easy it is to get in front of people.
How easy it is to get in front of people,
It's
but
hard.
how much their attention span is less than a goldfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got to get them in a way that is so repetitive, yet so short and precise.
Yeah.
And get in, get out. That's what people want. They don't necessarily like to leisure around, and one of the benefits of the podcast is that it's a relaxing environment. You get to hang out, and I kind of enjoy that aspect. But again, it's attention. You know what I mean? You just do things that feed everything else.
Yeah. I think one thing that was introduced back in the day is your network. Your net worth is your network.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really ever believe that. Well, I kind of believed it until probably these past 2 to 3 years, where I've seen how many referrals and people I've been introduced to, and on the real estate side, how I've been able to grow my net worth by individuals that I've met and purchased property from, and been, introduced to other people, and been able to kind of raise money and to be able to make some deals happen. And my goal is to be, I mean, I won't be known by everybody, but to be known as somebody who does good stuff in the community. But I feel like I'm on the right path to doing that. But that kind of takes you back, and if you want to be successful in business, you got to know a lot of people, but you also got to do right by a lot of people.
Yep.
You got to be able to help somebody out without expecting your hand out afterwards.
Exactly
like,
right.
What do you want from what can I give you? So I try my best to do that. Help people out, but I think this year in particular has become really hard, as busy as we are. Helping friends out, or helping even individuals out that I want to become more acquainted with, just because we're so busy. But it feels good to have people like that reach out to you, saying they heard got your name from so and so, or things like that. But I do think social media, like you said, helps you get in front of those people,
whether they know it or not.
Your eyeballs,
Your subconscious is taking that in, man.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen me, but I try to do live videos. So I might
Watch
have
them all, man, and they're good, and they're quick too. You're like, here we are, we're doing this,
and that only thing that is to catch some eyeballs. So I don't care if somebody watches it for the whole 45 seconds I'm filming that video, but they saw me scroll across their newsfeed.
Yep.
And then that night they saw me scroll across their newsfeed again with a project that we did yesterday.
Yep.
And tomorrow morning they're going to see me scroll across their newsfeed again with, here's what we're doing today. So like we talked about earlier, content is king. The more content you can put out, the better. Even if it's redundant, but I do think your content needs to have some relevancy. It needs to bring some value.
Some meat and potatoes to it, man.
Correct. It needs to bring some value. So I used to try to do and it kind of became difficult, but I might go back to doing it once a month or something like that, because we do it inside of our company. We talk about what we're going to learn this month on a particular area of the business, like hardscapes. Everybody learns it. It doesn't matter if you're in the hardscape division or not. You're learning a snippet of hardscapes. That way, if one of my guys that cuts grass is at a customer's house and she says, hey, this paver over here, these pavers over here are all falling off, my guy's going to be like, well, your base of your pavers is starting to slide out. Let me get one of the sales guys, which is me. Let me get the owner out here to take a look at that for you. If they know just enough information to be dangerous, they can help with a sale.
Absolutely. So how do you, hopefully this will tie into where else I'm trying to get with it, but I think it will. Employee management. is a necessary evil, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, knowing you, and from the 39 minutes and 55 seconds of this conversation, you obviously have you have emotion, an empathetic view, or an empathetic feeling towards your employees. You ask them what they like, what they don't like, what they would rather do, what their thoughts about the other employees, anything that may need to be, and that's not micromanagement. It's quality control at its finest, and it takes a little bit of the cross off your shoulders, like you're not carrying the whole thing and you've got to figure it all out. You're kind of leaning on your, I even hate to say employees by the way you describe how you run everything. It's kind of, it's a teammate almost. Because obviously if they're not running at whatever percentage they need to be running at, shit's going to fall apart.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and as cliche as that might sound, it's 100% true. So, seemingly, it sounds like you've got a little structure to these meetings and a cadence to kind of what you do, maybe on a monthly or a quarterly basis. When you're dealing with your employees, how do you kind of go about that? Where do you kind of come up with some ideas as far as what to talk to them about, and do you feed them lines as far as what they're saying to clients? How detailed do you get with that?
I think employees, for me, I struggled with for the longest time.
Because were they your buddies just to start off with?
They were my buddies. So when they were my buddies, it was great.
Sure.
It was awesome. I remember, here's some numbers for you. I remember when I was probably 22, 23 years old, and my buddies know this.
And you're what, 27?
Yeah, I'm 27.
Okay.
So it was me and two of my buddies, and I had them pretty much running the mow crew for me. We were doing about $12,000 to $14,000 a month.
Okay.
And I was paying them
Is that net?
$500 to $400 a week.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was probably profiting close to $8,000 to $9,000 a month at 22 years old, which I know
That's
22-years-olds make way more than that, but I also know guys
That's
that are
pretty
making
damn
$500
good.
a month
Yeah.
or a week. So, that was great. We had a back relationship. They were my best friends, literally. They'd just gotten out of college, and they were, kind of looking for what to do. So they came to work for me. Obviously, why not? We're gonna
He's
be
got
off
something
on
going. We're just
Friday
gonna hang out, yeah.
at noon, and we're going to the river, and we're gonna get drunk until Sunday, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna work all week. So
That's a good life right there.
Those are the best days of my life. Well, except for now because I got a child, and that's amazing. But
and a wife.
yeah, but she was there too the whole time.
She
So, she loved.
She wasn't cutting grass though.
No, not at all. No. She wasn't doing much. She was just waiting on the 5 o'clock to roll around so she could head
got her
down there.
cushion driving your ass back and
Yeah.
forth to fucking
Yeah.
class.
That's right. But I think after they left, I had a real hard run-in with guys on drugs, guys that were a lot older than me. I remember I had a 38-year-old guy working for me. He was running my stuff for me, and I don't think he really had much respect for me. Where I knew what I was talking about, but I feel like hey, I've been in the business for longer than you've been in business, and so I had some tough times. But I think kind of what got me on track to kind of where I'm at now, and the direction that we are going is. I used to give in too much. I used to give in way too much. So, if guys called me and they're like, hey, man, we didn't get done with this. It's Friday. It's 4 o'clock. We got 4 left on the schedule. Can we just push them off to Monday? Back in the day, I'd be like, you know what, man, don't worry about it. Come in. Come in. Or they make up some bullshit excuse. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, I'm like, no, you're going to get it done, or you're going to come in tomorrow and you're going to do it. So I think being... And for me, I thought I was going to lose employees. That was my biggest concern.
Sure.
So I think for somebody listening that's a business owner that's going through this, I think it's you got to let go. You can't be worried about losing that employee unless he's a linchpin, which he can do everything and run the business while you're not there. Mm-hmm. At that point in time, that employee is worth their weight in gold. which you should probably.
Well, they
paying
don't
them
get there
more.
without earning a little respect.
Correct,
on the first
but
spot.
you should probably be paying them more than.
Sure.
But you don't run.
They wouldn't
into,
get to that spot by
correct.
bitching either.
You don't run. You don't run into those employees
Yeah.
at that stage. So, nowadays I'm not as forgiving as I used to be. I don't take shit like I used to from my employees. I'm the owner of the company. You know what's on your schedule for the day. You know how long it's supposed to take. It needs to get done, or it'll get done tomorrow. Or if you got to stay until dark, it's going to get done. But there's a fine line to that. It's just like raising a kid. There's give and take on how far you can push being that, mean dad, and how much you can give so you're not that mean dad.
Right.
I think it's the same way with an employee, even though they might be the same age as you or even older.
Sure.
You still got to kind of treat them. I'm not gonna say like a child, but you have to treat them. They have feelings too.
You have to be compassionate towards.
Correct.
Because you don't know what the hell's going on in their life, at their house. You know, their baby mama could be out of control. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
that's where it comes into asking a lot of good questions. I feel, in the past I've had some guys that have been like that, not hitting their production numbers, not getting it done in the field. It just takes those hard questions to ask. And I feel like in the past I was scared to ask those questions. Like, hey man, what's going on? Why are we not hitting these numbers? And I think, in the past it was because I didn't have those deliverables up front.
what do you mean?
So as far as production, so let's take a Mo crew, for example. So, Mo crew might have 20 yards on their schedule for the day, and it might be scheduled for a 10-hour day. And it took them 12 hours. 2 weeks ago, they had the exact same schedule, and it took them 10 hours.
So they check in with you, just not necessarily clock them, but when they show back up at the shop, or do they text you when they're done, or how does that?
Yeah, I have a clock in, clock out.
Okay.
I used to get email alerts, but I turned that off because it gave me so much anxiety when I got home at 5 o'clock and my guys were still not done. So I turned that off here about 2 weeks ago. But, we review that the next morning in our morning meeting. Hey, where were we at yesterday on a production? Why were we there? And then, at that point in time, you kind of take your crew leader, you see what's going on, or even his helpers or anybody's helpers. You kind of see what's going on. I feel like morning meeting is really good to kind of get somebody's vibe, what's going on with them. And, if you see this repetitive pattern for a couple of days, that's when you need to address it. Pull them off to the side, see what's going on. Obviously, people, need to come to work, be happy with what they're doing, happy with their life. Obviously, you're going to get the most out of them at that point in time. So back to your thing, that's why I ask those questions. What do you like doing? I'm trying to make a most cohesive environment for production.
You're getting out ahead of what could potentially become a big issue at some point.
Correct. So we try to alleviate as much of that up front. So, I think this model that, obviously it takes a lot of fine tuning to get where, obviously at one point in time, I don't want to be running these morning meetings. I want my manager to be running these morning meetings, and we're kind of on the track right now.
So you've got a number two guy, kind of, or do you have? What do you have it separated up? Do you have lawn and hardscape?
Yeah. So right now I have 5 guys. I have 2 guys that run hardscapes, 2 guys that run landscapes, and then me and my cousin, who actually just moved up here to work for me. So he owned a landscape company in Florida. Stuff didn't work out. Called me and was like, hey man, if you could use me to come work for you, cool. Would love to come learn, and we'll see where it goes from there. So that's actually where I was last weekend in Florida at his wedding. So he's actually coming back, I think, tomorrow or something. But he's he's kind of that manager in training. So, I'm teaching him the ways of the business so I can step out hopefully in about June or July and him be pretty much running what I'm doing.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing for me right now is, it's going to be hard to teach, is running estimates, all that kind of stuff.
The technical stuff.
Yeah, in that business, there's a lot that goes on. You can't just go look at a patio and be like, okay, this is going to, take 2 guys 12 hours to, excavate all the dirt out and build the patio, yada, yada. You have to be in the field to understand those numbers. Have done it before. So, I'm trying to make it as dummy proof as possible, like McDonald's did with, building.
Build a system.
Yeah,
build it like you want to sell. What is it? What is that book? The E-Myth.
The E-Myth.
Have
you
read that? Yeah, great book.
Yeah.
I did a what do you call it? A book club deal through the chamber on that one. Build the business like you want to sell it. Put systems in place. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. Is that there's a structured environment. Which, tell me this. When you started, I guess, being a little more forward with your employees, as well as kind of structuring these morning meetings and individual meetings and things like that, did you find that maybe your employee retention went up some, or did? I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
So, how long have you kind of had these guys that you've got now?
I haven't really had any turnover in the past 2 years.
Oh man, in the landscape business, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I've had one Hispanic guy leave. He was just a piece of shit. So let's just put it at that. Mm-hmm. He's left me multiple times. Great guy. I've helped him out as much as I could. Bought him cars, loaned him money. He, obviously he's just dealing with family stuff at home and can't figure it out. So he hurts other people as he's, as he's going through that. But now I think, within the past 2 years, really all we've done is grow, and I've had some part-time help kind of come in and out. Obviously, I've had some guys come in that I know, hey, they are not a right fit for this company. And I really don't count those as turnover. Obviously, they came and left.
There's like a trial period.
Yeah, I knew that they weren't going to work out. So, I think obviously what I'm doing is working, but it helps from the input, and I've only started working on this in the past 2 years, is getting input from everybody else on what we're doing, what can be improved, how can I help your job be easier. Because I feel like, and I've gotten that way from people leaving in the past and telling me why they left. Kind of like an exit interview. You always ask.
Absolutely. Exit interviews are the best. Yeah.
Why are you leaving? What's going on? So, I like, for example, probably close to 2 years ago now, I had a guy leave. I kind of hired him in to kind of run the show. Was paying him good money. He left because of structure and organization. He didn't think I was very structured very well. We were just going and doing these jobs. And it's like, okay, well, we don't have a lot of work. So, I sell a job on Tuesday. If we ain't got nothing on Thursday, we're doing a job. Yeah. Where we got to scramble for materials or what.
Yeah.
So, he came from a larger company where work was booked out and then somebody else was sourcing
he just
materials.
Kind of put the square peg in the square hole and went at it. Yeah.
There was a lot of other people helping this happen other than 3 guys, me sourcing materials, them prepping, and then coming in and doing it. So, I understood that. I was like, I understand at that point in time, you're not a good fit for where we're at in the organization right now. I brought you on to help us get there. Obviously, you're not going to do that. So,
yeah.
Now where we're at now, I'm in a good spot. So I'm trying to, figure out, hey, here's the areas of the business that I need help with. And do I have enough funding to delegate those yet? So I just put an ad out on, what's it called? Fiverr? No, not Fiverr. The other one that you can hire people. Anyways, online app that you can hire people from Upwork.
Oh, okay.
Upwork. So trying to hire, a girl or guy to answer incoming calls, kind of pre-qualify people on what type of project they're looking for, and then, take that off my plate. Okay. Schedule them if they pre-qualify into my calendar. Because pretty much every night at the end of my workday, I'm making an hour of phone calls, calling people back. Because typically, unless they're one of my clients, I don't answer the phone in the middle of the day. Yeah. Because I just got too much going on. I'm either driving, I can't stop, completely focus my time on taking notes on what they got going on. So I think that's one thing that I can delegate out to a virtual assistant that can kind of help me with that, as well as doing a little bit of bookkeeping. Obviously, nobody likes doing that stuff. So
there's some people that do.
Oh yeah,
some people love it.
That's
numbers,
why you hire
man. That's exactly right. I think I think for most business owners, that delegation is the hardest part of letting go of a little bit of your baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you started it, you're doing it, especially the books, dude. Books are tough, you know, because there's just so much fuckery that goes on out there
So
as far as people just skimming some off the top or, you know, being lazy about it. But those are the challenges that come with a business, and I guess it's going to lead me right into kind of what I really want to get into, is you personally from a mindset basis and a daily habit basis, and kind of how you personally deal with controversy and chaos, and, you know, and to bring order back to that situation. I know, and I've talked to you, so I know you're into kind of this, you know, quote unquote self-help, self-betterment, you know, whatever it may be, but that's the motor that drives the whole fucking system, is how you as an individual operate and envision, because you had to think of something before you actually manifested it.
Correct.
And you're the one that manifests it. It's not your employees. You know, they may have some, you know, manifestations of their own that intermingle with yours, obviously, and you've got to kind of settle that out. But you, how do you deal with it all? I mean, you've got kid, you've got a beautiful wife, about to have another one, not another wife, another kid, and employees, houses. I mean, you just got a lot going on. Particularly, I would like to start kind of in the morning, what you've got going on to kind of set that day.
Yeah.
You know, I guess 7 a.m. meeting with your guys. Yeah. And then kind of how you finish the day, and what you do kind of in between that as well.
Yeah. So my day sucks, to be honest with you. I'm pretty shitty at it, and I should do way better, and I'm working on it. So I've had an alarm on my watch for the past probably 2 months now for 5:45 to get up, and I haven't done it once.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I'm working on now. For me, one thing that I've realized here over the past 2 months is my body is a temple. I only have one body. I have a fucked up neck and a fucked up back. Mm-hmm. I'm literally not going to be able to walk by probably 35 or 40 if I continue down what I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. So I've got to get in a better routine of yoga or stretching or something, because if I don't, then literally I'm...
Stuff that people think is heebie-jeebie. I mean...
Stretching is... If you're
huge,
in my...
yes.
I mean, I know it
you,
from my perspective. I know that average day person is not all jacked up.
Sure.
Stretching will probably go as far as it does for me, but I can feel it so much better.
Sure.
So that's one thing that, you know, I'm setting up to do in the morning is and also on the meditation side. You know, sitting down, visualizing what I want my life to be, where I want to go with my business, where I want to go with my family, where I want to go with my body, and where I want to go with my spirituality. Mm-hmm. So have you ever heard of the Wake Up Warrior Challenge?
Wake Up Warrior?
Yeah, the Garrett White guy.
Yeah, it's not the Miracle Morning thing, but I don't know. You can go into it.
So I mean, he's got this program for guys, and that's kind of what he focuses on: is body, being, balance, and I don't know the other one. There's
something else. Yeah.
Business.
Okay.
So you know, that's really the only 4 aspects of your life. So you know, you need to have all those in line, but. For me right now, on my daily basis, I wake up at probably 6, a little earlier. I lay there for a while. You know, get up, get my daughter going, get her dressed, get everybody out the door, and then, you know, head over to my shop for our morning meeting.
Okay.
So my guys roll in, talk about what's going on for the day, and then, you know, it depends. It really depends from there on what I do.
You're putting out fires for the rest of the day.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I'm either going to pick up materials, I'm going to client meetings, I'm going to put out fires, you know, whatever it is that I'm doing with the landscape company. And then also I got my home building side. Mm-hmm. So, you know, typically every single morning I try to leave my shop and go check on the homes. see what's gotten done, see if there's anything that's fucked up that I need to call the contractors on that are, coming, the subs that are coming that day, to make sure, it gets done fixed, gets done right. And then from there, I'm making sure that those homes are on schedule, and I'm getting in touch with other contractors to make sure they're on schedule to come the next week so we can keep these homes rolling. So, I'd probably say throughout the day, I spend a lot of time on the phone.
Yeah.
More than the average Joe. I mean, I know me and Jacqueline talked about it the other day. It was like, look at your ingoing and outgoing calls for the day and look at mine. I mean, there are a couple scrolls and it's one day, where your couple scrolls is like 5 days.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot going on. And then, but I say it's gotten better over the past, year, because of me not having to be on job sites as often. Whereas before, I was trying to handle all that from the job site, which that was a lot of phone calls, a lot of me leaving early, and even before I had guys that I felt comfortable letting them run the crew, we were having to shut it down for the day at 4:00, which, I mean, my guys work pretty much from 7 till dark. If we're over an hour away from the house, you need to work till dark, because I'm paying 2 hours of drive time every single day.
Sure. Okay.
So they work till 5:30, 6 o'clock every day, especially like when we're out there in Hendersonville now. I'm having to pay 2 hours of drive time. So it doesn't make sense for guys to drive out there, work till noon, and then come home, if something's going on. So, we try to, if somebody's got something to do, there's no point in that happening. But, back to your thing, I got a lot going on throughout the middle of the day. And right now it's tough. Like today I got home at about 4:30. Was done for the day, other than getting out estimates and stuff like that, which I worked on a lot during the day. But I'd probably say 4 days out of the week I don't get home till 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Sure.
So, that that's one thing that people say, hey, start a business, it'll be fun. You'll make a lot of money, you'll have freedom. But they don't tell you what it costs.
Just get ready, baby. Yeah.
What it costs to get there. Even I'm 10 years into the business now, and I feel like I'm just now starting to figure this shit out. I'm 28, but I feel like the past 10 years I've just been learning. And I'm now starting to implement this stuff into the business. So, I look at it for myself as like, I want to spend more time with my wife. I want to spend more time with my child. Obviously we got free weekends and stuff like that, but the getting home late, and this is one thing that I worry about, don't worry about, but I'm already starting to implement it, is like, my daughter's going to have stuff after school. She's going to have to go to dance practice or play baseball or do some shit like that. And, I need to be there for those things. And I also want my guys to be there for those things for their children. So, that's one thing that I've just recently started thinking about, is how can I make this happen, us still be profitable, us still get our jobs done on scheduled amount of time, but, and get the guys home by 5 o'clock so they can go to or 4 o'clock. Because, I mean, baseball games these days are at 4:30. Like, who the hell does this shit? Like, we work. People work. Hey, we got a T-ball game at 4:30. Everybody be here so we can get out at 7.
You got lights on that field, don't you?
Yeah. Have the game at 7. Let everybody eat dinner first or something. I don't know, but I think of everybody else and try to think of the direction the business is headed and how everybody can be happy in the business, because people leave their work for shit like that.
100%.
I don't get to go.
Is not what they want it to be.
I don't get to go see my kids' baseball games. And good thing for me is I got a bunch of kids that work for me. Well,
that don't really have
3.
kids.
Yeah. I got one that's got one is 22. And he has no kids. All he cares about is drinking beer and partying and being late to work every day.
As a 22-year-old,
yeah. And I got one guy that's a year younger than me, and he's got like a 3-year-old. So I think his daughter's the same age as mine. So he's really, they're not there yet as well. And then I got one guy that's got 6 kids, but I don't know what he's doing.
Golly.
We won't get into that. It's a totally different story.
That's a whole lot of kids.
All of them great guys. None of them bitch about working late ever.
Yeah.
But they do let me know, hey, I gotta, like my one guy, he said, man, my daughter's got a game at 6. I gotta be off at 5. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Make it happen. If not, let's move your schedule. Move some of your schedule tomorrow. Or how can these guys help you finish?
Because you can't really start cutting grass too terribly early because it's still wet. Is that right? I mean, can you go ahead?
You can. But I mean, back in the day when I used to cut grass by myself, I remember me and my buddy Tucker, and this was back in the river days. Fridays, we would start at 5 in the morning. We'd get to my house. It would be dark. We'd load up. We used to go cut the Tractor Supply here in Dixon, and then we had a couple other ones, like a couple commercial accounts. And we would cut them all before 7 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Cut a couple of them. Yeah. And then we'd be done by 1 o'clock. And the boat would be ready. And we'd pull up, load the boat up to the truck. And we'd be at the river by 4.
Living life.
Yeah. But that was, back in the me plus 1.
Sure.
Me plus 2.
Sure.
And now it's, 5 of us plus me. So, there's a lot more moving pieces in that puzzle now.
Oh, absolutely.
And the bigger you get, there's a lot more moving pieces.
Well, it's just one more cog, in the whole system. You've got to deal with
I don't think there's more cogs in the system. I think what it is you have a business, and it's there's a piece for every single puzzle, or every piece for the whole cog. Mm-hmm. That cog gets overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's true.
And one person can't handle it, so it has to be delegated. Yeah. And then that cog gets overwhelmed and it has to be delegated. So I think at that point in time, your team grows because the owner can't handle the sales anymore because you get 30 phone calls a day. Mm-hmm. The owner can't answer the phone calls anymore because you get 30 phone calls a day. The owner can't do the work anymore because you got 4 months of projects lined up. Mm-hmm. So it goes on and on and on and on as you get bigger. And for me, I think that I haven't gotten to the point where I've found like, hey, because this is kind of my goal. I want to get to a happy spot where I'm like, all right, we're making $2.5-3 million a year, and the profit margin is here. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to take us a couple years to kind of get to where we want. I think we'll have to go over that and under that and figure out where the happy medium is. Hey, we need 12 guys, 1 manager, 1 salesperson, 1 office person can handle X amount of dollars a year, and our profit margin is X. And if we go over that, our profit margin is less. If we go under that, our profit margin is less. I think there's a sweet spot there. And then my thing, too, is like I want all my guys to make as much money as possible. Yeah. Like I want to pay them as much money as possible. That's why we do, like we have a bonus structure on everything. So we have timed, like everything's timed. Like this project's supposed to take 10 hours. If you get it done in 8, you're making your 2 hours free. You're getting paid for those 10 hours, whether it's
kind of like a mechanic type deal too.
Kind of like a body shop style deal.
Yeah. Okay.
But we also have jobs that, we have so much profit margin in them, like sod jobs. We make so much money on sod. It's stupid, like what people pay for it, but it's the going rate. Like a lot of times, like my guys have a big sod job. Like a couple weeks ago, we did 4 guys. We did like $10,000 in one day.
Oh wow.
And they all
putting down grass.
Putting down grass. We had three different jobs we did. I think we laid like 20-something pallets in a day.
Dang.
No, I didn't do any of it.
Sure.
I did. No, I didn't do anything. No. I
That's the way it needs to be.
I led the jobs and kind of rolled around each one. Yeah. Made sure it was going right. But I think they had almost a $200 bonus per guy.
Wow. Good for them.
I mean, that's over a full day's pay on top of your daily pay. So they made almost $400 a piece per day.
Dang.
So we try to structure it that way. And 2, it's got the guys there hustling. Yeah, they're hustling. Because it's like, shit, let's get this motherfucker done.
You can separate, the weak from the strong at that point too, and that's even more one of this, like this honing deal as far as there's a sweet spot there, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's from those that, and I'm sure having your guys working kind of, if they get it done quick, obviously they get a bonus, but it's worse because it's time and a half if they're working overtime kind of deal. So you got to manage that as well too. So you've been, when did you move to Dixon? How long you been here?
I was in 6th grade, so probably 12.
So you've been here for a while. You obviously know a lot of people. You're at a lot of people's houses. You see what Dixon's doing. You've gotten into the house building. Where do you see Dixon going? Obviously we've kind of got you and your role and what you're doing as far as from teaching people how to start a business to growing your own business to starting another business. What's going to happen to Dixon? We've got a huge bottleneck at the moment. Obviously, there's a housing shortage, which you're helping with, trying to help with. There's an infrastructure shortage as far as capacity in water and sewer, internet, stuff like that as well too. A lot of stuff going on downtown, some other developments and stuff where I think your business is set in Dixon. Your clientele is mainly in and around Dixon as well too. So I don't think you're going anywhere anytime soon. Until you hit it big and you may move off. But what's going to happen, man? I mean, where do you see kind of the commercial space going in Dixon? What do you see kind of with the housing market going on? What stuff you got rolling around in your head?
I think for me, the housing market is tough because everything is so inflated right now due to material cost. So material cost in general, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's lumber, PVC, HVAC, it's all inflated. So that's why you've seen the home cost jump up so much. It's directly related to, hey, it's going to cost me, X amount to build this 1,000 square foot house. That's why I can list it for $250,000 where it was built in 1970.
Yeah.
I saw that today and that blew my mind. 1970, 1,000 square foot listed for $250,000. That's $250 a square foot.
That's some big time money there.
Big time for a old house.
Old house is going to be redone.
So I think for me, one problem that we're going to face, we're already facing it now, but we're going to face it for a while is housing affordability for people who can't afford a $250,000 starter home. I think past 5 years ago, you could probably have gotten that same home for $150,000.
Yeah.
125 and 150. A husband and a wife that are making $600 to $700 a week each can afford that home very easily. That's a $800 to $1,000 mortgage with shitty credit.
Yeah.
Probably. Now, somebody that's making, you got a husband and a wife that both work at a factory and they're making $600 to $800 a week each. They can't afford a $2,500 mortgage every single month with, they don't have a down payment. If they do, they have a small one. So I think that we need to bring in some affordable housing, whether that's apartments, which we've got something in the works with our business, with an apartment complex deal in Burns. I know people aren't happy to hear that. And for you listening, I'm sorry, but
with growth there's pain, baby. I mean,
progression is
you can't stop it. No. I mean, you just the good. I say the good. There's a changing of the guards going on at the moment, though. As far as not that the old guard is bad, but growth is absolutely necessary. If you're not growing, you're dying.
With anything.
And looking at what's happening in Nashville right now, people, A, can't really move there without paying out the ass, and B, want to get out. So you've got this just huge, because they're flooding from New York and California. Those countries are about to be just empty of people. They're all going to either Texas, Tennessee, Florida, these southern kind of little more lax, lenient states as far as rules and taxes. Yeah, and regulations is starting business and how much it'll help entrepreneurs. But this push to Dixon's changing whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is. And maybe for the younger crew, the younger crowd, it's easier for us to accept, but it's definitely a battle. But I will give a huge shout out and kudos to kind of the leadership with Jason Pilkington and the mayors and a couple, several other people that are fanning the fire of this growth.
Yeah.
They're lessening lot lines. they're allowing for some variances that are really progressive, but manageable. It's not out of control.
Correct.
and they get it. Dixon's got room to grow, but again, it's this huge bottleneck like you're talking about, is that cost of material is through the roof and with all of it. And then the infrastructure is at a bottleneck. Traffic count is getting crazy. So it's just a weird point in time right now for everybody, it seems like.
Yeah, I think the infrastructure thing is really big. I know for us, our plan with a piece of property that we bought in Burns was to build a development in it. And we have sewer literally running down the front of it, and they told us we couldn't tap into it because it's full. So it's handling all of Fairview's shit that is coming from Fairview.
Literally.
The shit, yeah. Mm-hmm. To Jones Creek. So, that shut our whole deal down that we were going for right there. Obviously, we have a new deal structured now on what we're going to do with that property, but we're seeing cases like that all over the place, where our infrastructure is not allowing to handle this growth because it's not in place. I think our electric department, our gas department, I think they're doing a good job of trying to handle it, but I think there's people on those boards that also don't want the growth, and they don't want to push to make stuff happen. For me, I mean, you can ask anybody I know. I'm always let's try to make this deal happen and figure out the rest later. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've heard of Grant Cardone. He says that,
Yep.
Get the deal first, figure out how to
rest.
do it afterwards.
Yep.
And I've kind of always been that way, especially on real estate. That's kind of how I am now. Structure the deal first. If I don't have the money to buy it, I probably can find somebody to buy it and me get a cut of it.
The hard money's a fun thing to come by.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, it's not hard to come by.
Yeah.
Money right now is not hard to come by on anything. Nope. But there's these exterior factors that are slowing these deals down. I think Dixon downtown in general needs a major overhaul on a lot of properties that are just
Absolutely.
I mean, just shit properties. But at the same time,
But they're overpriced right now. You know what
Overpriced.
I mean? It's so frustrating because every time I drive down Rickert and Poplar and all those, I'm like, I'm about to go just knock on that person's door. You know what I mean? But
send them a letter in the mail.
Yeah, but they know that they could get a lot more than they could, a year ago, kind of deal. So it's a fickle beast to play with, but.
The thing is, like Jason and them downtown, and I understand because I'm kind of on the same boat. I don't want to see these homes bought, tore down to be sold to a 1517A and a 1517B. Mm-hmm. Home in front, home in the back. Or I'm fine with the tall and skinny side by side with a driveway, but the homes in the front and the back, like who wants to walk out their back door and see their neighbor's front door right there? So it's tough. It's tough to buy a home that somebody lives in now that is really not livable because there's a bunch of them downtown that are this way.
Oh, yeah.
That people live in, for top dollar, and then tear them down to build something when building costs are so high right now.
Yep.
So, for an investor, there's no room in there to make any money. But, I mean, there's deals out there. It's just... I think it's going to take a little bit of work from everybody, and even the direction the economy's going to, make those deals where we're at work.
Oh, yeah. Do you think it's going to bust? Do you think there's going to be a real estate bust?
I don't think there's going to be a bust. I think there'll be a correction.
Okay.
But with the cost of material, I think it's kind of keeping us where we're at. But, I've heard some talks from like kind of our lumber suppliers about... a correction in the lumber prices, maybe mid-June, July. But that's all hearsay. That's what they think. There's no, hey, this is going to happen. But I mean, I think that I worry more for the home sales in California.
Oh, absolutely.
All these people leaving and what's going to happen.
And they're making out with some big bucks on a condo. And coming down here and getting some property in a nice house.
Or property that's, I mean, I've sold multiple pieces of property, purchased them off market, turned around and sold them to people from California. I mean, it just, and they don't even fret over.
Where do you put it? Where do you list it?
On the MLS.
Oh, so you give it to a realtor and then they'll come out.
I purchase property off market.
Right.
So I find a deal, get in touch with the owner, try to purchase it at a price that I feel like is good. I typically try to be 100% under what I think the market value is. So I'm trying to make 100% on a deal.
Yeah.
So if I buy a property for $50,000, I'm trying to sell it for $100,000, or I'm trying to buy a piece and I'm trying to split it up into multiple pieces. That's typically where I make a lot more money. But these people from California, it's like I had a guy come buy a piece from me, 9 acres in Burns, and put a contract on it, never even come and look at it. Didn't even come look at it. Survey wasn't even done yet. We'll purchase it, full asking price, cash.
They don't care.
No.
I'm on the BZA, the county BZA board, and there are some things that come across. It's the same thing. These people from California buy it online, and they don't come look at it, but then they expect to build these houses on there, and now they're wanting variances.
Yeah.
Because the setbacks are too much, and they want to lessen them just a little bit. I'm like,
yeah.
What do you want me to do? We can't. You should have looked at the rules, dude. You know what I mean? But who knows what they're going to do? The hell, they may just come out here and put a damn camper on it for a little bit and build a house somewhere else. I mean, hell, they're getting millions of dollars for a condo. You can buy 8 acres cash for fun, and hell, you can put a swimming pool out there if you want to.
Yeah. The thing is, we're kind of at Williamson County. You cannot build a house within the next year. Like if you wanted to go buy a piece of property in Williamson County right now, to get your soil, all your soil done. Fairview might be a different story, but like Franklin, the Thompson Station, those areas right now, you can't get somebody out there to do all that work within the next year. That's how backlogged they are.
Wow.
And they just went to and Dixon has talked about this, going to a 5-acre minimum on building a house. So right now in Dixon County, it's 1 acre minimum for a septic lot. So, you can buy 3 acres, split them up into 3 tracts, build 3 homes if they're suitable for a conventional septic system. But I don't think the 5 acres is going to go through. One of the guys that's on the board told me about it. He said he doesn't see that happening anytime. But Williamson County did that slow growth because there was so much going on. People from Williamson County are starting to come, especially to Burns because it's so close, and try to build homes. But there's no property for sale is the problem. Okay. So, with Dixon County, you can get, buy a piece of property, fill out a septic form, have your guy come out there, pay you $500. He'll come out there, show you where to build your house. You can have all that done in a month and have footers done, in a month and a half.
Ready to go. So have you a house done from purchase of property to living in there in 6 months easily. With less property taxes.
With way less property taxes.
Way less property taxes. And I think Dixon's they're within proximity of commercial exposure to satisfy people like that. That's one question I ask all the realtors is, all these people flooding from these other states, trying to find a place to live, they end up in Dixon. Is my question to them is the commercial exposure what it needs to be to satisfy these people? And their answer is typically either yes or Nashville's 35 minutes away.
Yeah, I think Nashville's 35 minutes away. I think the better person to ask that would be a commercial developer. Yeah. Somebody who looks... And this is kind of the direction I'm heading in my real estate career, is finding deals and then selling those deals to a developer, whether it's a commercial developer or it's a residential home builder. It's just there's so much you can do real estate. That's fast cash right there.
Hell yeah, it's wholesaling for the most part. Yeah,
I can wholesale or I can purchase it outright. Yeah. That's kind of the deal we did on 96. We purchased that property. We got a potentially an apartment complex going in there.
Cool.
We're probably going to do some commercial on it as well, and then a little bit of residential. So,
oh, what a cool mix! I've always said 96 is the main vein, man, between damn Williamson County and Dixon.
It is, man. It is. So
that'd be awesome.
There's a lot of other property for sale right there that we're in the works of buying it. So this is off market deals that I've reached out to these people. Find them online, send them letters in the mail, calling them, doing a little legwork to try to get these deals. So, but I do think, that Burns area, people kind of think of that as, I feel like people kind of think of that in Dixon as like Charlotte, but a little bit more upper class because it's closer to Nashville. People, the home values are higher in there, as far as the homes that are there.
Yep.
Which, if you've ever talked to anybody that lives in that Camp Ravine area, we have a lot of clients over there. So nobody is from here. Nobody that lives there is from here that moved there.
Wow.
Nobody. They either moved from Bellevue or they moved from California or they moved from somewhere else to here. And a lot of times it's to be closer to their kids that already live in Nashville. But they don't want to live in Nashville because they're retired and they want a little bit more property and yada, yada, yada. I'd probably say out of 20 people that live in there, there's one person that lived in Dixon County that bought one.
Wow.
They liked it.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dixon's at a commuter standpoint from last I heard it was like 50 in, 50 out. So 50% will leave from Dixon to go somewhere else, but another 50% will come in from like Hickman and Humphreys and those places to come work in Dixon. So again, that's another bottleneck that I'm seeing too is
I think the jobs are not here.
What's that next step though? You know what I mean? What's that next step to bring in what needs to be brought in? You know what I mean? Like I've said that, and this is the bottleneck as we're drinking long necks. There needs to be, the shift work kind of industrial space is good and it's stable and, it provides a decent life for people to climb the ladder if that's what they want to do. And then I think, again, also the entrepreneurial support within Dixon, as you can kind of see, I was just your business, but the businesses on Main Street as well, too. The Downtown Dixon Association is very progressive in some of the things they do, and they're not progressive in some other things as well. But I think that I've always pictured Dixon as like a nesting area. How and this is where the infrastructure of internet comes into play. For some reason, I just keep having this in my morning meditations, this thing that keeps hitting me that says that Dixon could be an incubator type space. I mean, how neat would it be if we had just this proximity from Nashville? I mean, Columbia's got an entrepreneur center. Centerville just put a badass entrepreneur center in. And then we've got Clarksville above us that's got a Google plant up there and a couple other things as well too. To have some sort of, obviously, we've been talking that the world is going towards this VR, social media, kind of, I hate to say less personal.
Yeah, I mean, that's what COVID did.
But that's what it is.
I worry about commercial space in general. Mm-hmm. So think about, like, for me, think about all these healthcare companies. They own these or lease these 20 to 40,000 square foot buildings. Mm-hmm. They have 500 people that work in there. COVID hit. Every motherfucker that works in there can work from home. Mm-hmm. Literally. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them. So now they are paying a, I don't know, $50,000 lease a month for this building that everybody is still working from home. Mm-hmm. So I worry in the next 3 to 5 years what commercial real estate as a whole for the country is going to do, especially for that. So I think you're going to see a lot of these big holders of commercial real estate go belly up because they can't afford this stuff. Kind of like you've seen Sears and JCPenney's and companies like that go under.
Macy's and all that,
I feel like you're going to see a lot of these bigger
box stores and
maybe box stores, but like leasing buildings and things like that have some. Man, it's going to hurt the economy because that's a lot. People that own those buildings have a lot of market share and a lot of money. But I'm not worried about that in Dixon County. I worry about that in Nashville and Franklin and areas like that. But I think Dixon County is great, like you said, an incubator for small business because people still like to do business with people. But I do think that there needs to be a better online presence for.
Gotta have internet.
Got it.
And I have got scheduled for the 1st of May, which is next week, Todd Murphy, who has a lot to do with the broadband expansion as well too. So I'll get that out of him next week. But that's, like it or not, that's the direction things are going right there. And those people, those quote unquote Silicon Valley people, are used to a little more upscale amenities as well too. And I think that if you could get solid internet out here and bring those people that no longer going to work for HCA or Dell or whatever else, and they want to work from home, bring them out here, put them on the internet, and then here they are spending all their damn money. But they're going to require the Starbucks, the Chick-fil-A's, the Dillards, these.
I think we're getting those people now. We did a big sod job for a guy a couple weeks ago. Works for Microsoft. Moved here from California. Bought him a little shed from the Dixon Shed Builders. One of those like 2-story cool shit. I was like, dude, I need one of these for my office. Set my office up in this thing. So he's got his home office set up in that thing, and works for Microsoft. Works from home. Lives on the way to Charlotte. But I think that what you're talking about, that more upscale person, that bougie, if you want to call them that, but somebody who wants those better amenities, they're gonna much rather want to live in Nashville or Williamson County than Dixon because of those closer amenities, even if they are working from home. And I think that. For me, as a resident of Dixon County, I don't know if I want all that, but I would like some of it. And I think that we could have a good mixture of, I kind of like the Thompson Station area has done.
That's a good spot.
I think it's a good spot because there is some, and I'd probably say that people that live out there probably bitch about it, but, there's some cram up neighborhoods in there that have quarter-acre lots and they're boom boom boom, which there's nothing wrong with that. People want to live, and that's the thing.
They want to live on top of each other and live on top of each other.
The thing is, you think and you gotta have an open mind always. And I've had people say, "Oh, you're gonna build houses right on top of each other on these quarter-acre lots." Dude, people want that. They don't want to take care of their yard. They don't want to mow an acre.
They don't care.
They
don't have
want
dogs.
This quarter-acre lot.
They may have a little
They
dog.
don't give a shit if their neighbor. They can pop their head out and say hey to their neighbor on their back porch. They don't care. I'm not that way, but people are that way.
There's a demand for that.
Correct. There's a demand there. As well as there's demand for condos. I mean, the demand is, as we can see right now, is the time to do it. If there was a time to do it for housing, it's now. If it could be built, build it. But we have no infrastructure to handle it. I know there's a deal that's going on right now off of Gum Branch. I think it's an apartment complex with some houses in there. It's supposed to kick off here pretty soon. It's already been through planning and zoning and everything like that. But I know there's some people that are opposed to it, which, I mean, you're going to get it wherever you are.
Can't please everybody.
I think to continue to bring those people from Nashville and Franklin, I think we need to stand apart a little bit on still being that rural community that has amenities, that's not so jam up.
Small town feel with big town amenities, but not all of them.
Not all
of them. And we've got room. I mean, I've even heard some whispers about some annexing, or some deals between Hickman and Dixon County, kind of where they meet over there, because there's obviously on that side of the interstate so much potential. So much potential. And Hickman County land is cheap, and You know, you've got 840 that runs right up there into Bon Aqua, so those people can jump on there and they can get to Williamson County in no time. You know what I mean?
I've been looking that area hard for deals.
It's awesome.
I think it's awesome. I would really like to buy some property on, how is it, 46?
Yep.
To put my shop. So
Okay.
I'm looking right now to buy property to put my shop on.
Okay.
But like you said, 840 right there, hop on there, go to Williamson County,
Yep.
Thompson Station, Arrington Vineyard, College Grove, or come right up to 40, go to West Nashville, East Nashville.
Or even hit 100 and go through Fairview and into Bellevue.
Yeah,
You know
whatever.
what I mean?
I think that's a good hub. I think in the next 2 years, you're really going to see growth out that
I
way.
do too. I mean, they've already built some pretty big neighborhoods, like off of Jump Off Road and a couple other places over there in kind of the Bon Aqua.
Yeah, we've done quite a few in off the Spencer Mill Road area. You know, being in the landscape and the building industry, you know, on that side, the building side, I'm always looking for deals. On the landscape side, I'm always seeing the deals after they've happened on the landscape side, obviously. But I do think that area right there is really good. I think what scares people is there's a lot of rough stuff in that area. You know, there's double wides and
Well,
single
pretty much
wides.
all of Hickman County is A1 zone. It's agriculture, so
Correct.
there's
So you
no
do whatever the hell you
rules whatsoever.
Yeah, literally.
You can have $1 million house right next to a double wide trailer. You know what I mean?
Or right next to a permanent camper.
or a cow farm. You know what I
Whatever.
mean?
It doesn't
Whatever
matter.
it may be, or a commercial business. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, and I do truly appreciate hustlers like you and the other people that I have on this podcast, which is the main reason I started it, was that in my line of work, I deal with all different people of all different spectrums, mainly on the commercial side, and they all have cool stories and cool visions about where they're going personally and with their business, as well as kind of what they would like to see come into Dixon. And I think Dixon has a really, really unique entrepreneurial type of experience, especially when you get to know these people,
Yeah.
you know, and how they started it and why they started it. And I'm, you know, it's obviously, you know, kind of similar stories throughout, you know, different cities as well too. But Dixon, in my mind, you know, I told somebody the other day, I don't think I'm ever leaving. I say ever, you know, not anytime soon. There's just too much stuff that I've got my finger in, and I would kind of like to see this baby continue to be birthed. You know what's happening. We're an hour south of Clarksville, hour north of Columbia, 40 minutes west of Nashville, and the last set of lights before Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for a more perfect situation than that.
And everything's coming west. So
Everything north, east, and south of Nashville is slammed. You know, and people want out, and the people that are coming in don't necessarily want to move back into another big city. So I mean, we're at a real sweet spot right now, and I keep saying it too, is that there is new leadership coming into play too. Not that the old, like I said, the old guard's not bad, but their vibe on what's happening outside of Dixon may not be as connected as the younger crew that's kind of coming through, who's making things happen and really making some waves as far as what goes on in Dixon, and the Main Street's obviously the heartbeat of any city whatsoever, and it's coming up, and they're doing some really, really, really good things. With some big things planned. I mean, the same people, I was at the auction, the same people that bought Craig Morgan's building, which they're putting Pumphrey's in there. Oh, listen to this. So, they've got Pumphrey's and Ollie's is going in next to each other in the old Craig Morgan building. And they're going to put, and I'm probably going to get this number wrong, but like 16 or 20 different craft beer taps in the either Pumphrey's or Ollie's with a skate shop with an arcade system in there. So, I mean, what a great addition to downtown. I mean, there's going to be pinball games and whatever else in there, craft beer taps with a skateboard shop. I mean, and then they've got that event space upstairs over there too. Yeah. So, and then so those same people bought the old bank building, the old First National Bank, which was the county clerk's office. And from me overhearing kind of conversations of what they were going to do, it's going to be a really good forward-facing commercial space, maybe some mixed res type deal. But they paid $450 for that thing, $455. Excuse me.
No way. For the whole building.
$450, and the lot next door, the parking lot.
Man, I might have bought that for that.
$450, but it's got a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah, it does.
A whole lot of work.
And
and
there'll
then,
probably be another 500 into it.
oh, easy, real easy. Especially if they're going to do some sort of commercial space. Especially if they're going to do some sort of restaurant over there, which it's.
I think downtown. I love going downtown. I think that Dixon needs more events and things that happen cohesively to brighten all of downtown at once.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I love going to these, like that thing that we went to on St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
Obviously, a lot of stores were open, brought a lot of people downtown. So, like we talked about earlier, it's, getting in front of people and staying in front of people. Whether it was to start some type of downtown forum of here's the events that are going on this month downtown. Here's, here's the specials that these businesses are running this month. Because that's one thing that I always look at when somebody starts a new business. Like they're purchasing that, and they're putting in the craft beers. That's all fine and dandy, but how can they attract customers to come there on a regular basis?
Yep. What are they going to do?
And I think you're doing a great thing with the trivia night. I mean, you stay active with it. I see you post on Tuesday. Here's who's coming. Wednesday, get your shit together and get there. Thursday, here's the pictures of everybody doing everything. Friday, here's the pictures of the prizes that everybody got. It gets everybody's in.
It's a whole process. There's a story to it. Yeah.
There's a story to it. And it doesn't matter if you get 2 likes. 7,500 people might have saw it, and only 2 people liked it.
Yep.
That's kind of been,
that's the craziest thing about social media,
Dude,
too, man. You can put so much work into it,
Think about, I don't even look at the, like when I post videos, I don't even look at like how many people watched it. I don't even look at how many people liked it. I don't give a shit. I know somebody saw it while they were scrolling. They saw my face. They saw my logo at the top. That's all I need. That's it.
It's subconscious programming. I mean, it's exactly what it is. You may not consciously recognize what's going on, but if you need somebody to cut your grass, boom. Why did that thought come to my head? Why? Because he's on my Instagram story or my Facebook story every single day.
Correct.
I may not have liked it. I may not have commented. I may not have done a damn thing to it. But that's the first thought that comes to my head.
Yeah. And I think that for especially somebody starting a brick and mortar, that is scary as shit to me. Because you got that rent, you got to have people in there making that shit happen.
Inventory control, everything.
There's a lot of moving pieces in something like that versus, the businesses that I'm involved in. And, I think, like we're talking about, getting people to be seen whether you're coming there or not. Because when I go to eat at Lugo's or if I go to Katie's Ice Cream downtown, and I just saw earlier on my Facebook feed that they're having buy one get one free beer or something on craft beers tonight. This craft beer is half off, or it doesn't even have to be a deal. Just, hey, there's a new craft beer we got. Come try it out. Get a sample cup for free. Whatever. If it wouldn't have been posted, I would have known nothing about it. Yep. Therefore, I would have not have gone because, that might not be interesting to me at the moment. But if I'm already down that area, I'm like, what the hell, man? I might as well go over there. I'm already here.
Yep.
So I think, like we talked about earlier, staying in front of people, staying on top of people, I think that is important for our businesses downtown to kind of help grow that. I feel like all those businesses downtown kind of thrive off of each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're all intertwined. You go to eat dinner here, and then you go to get some beers here afterwards, and you might have gone shopping before you went to eat dinner. That's supposed to be that downtown feel. You go and park your car. You walk around for 2 to 3 hours. You shop, you eat, you have fun, and you enjoy.
You have a day.
Community.
You know what I mean? You have an experience, which is all that we have in life anyway. Is just an infinite amount of experiences, and it's all in how do we look at them. And It's easier to look at the big picture than just a little granule picture of just here's this one business doing this one thing. Why don't we back up a little bit? And I've had this trivia thing has gotten just out of control. It is I've become overly obsessive about the questions, how it's run, the sponsors, how many people are there. Like, I'm real hard on those numbers. I'm my biggest critic on anything, but I have people. I mean, it's amazing. You go in there and there's Ginger Hibachi, there's Xander's Pizza, there's House Blend, there's Back Alley Barbecue, because you can bring your own food in there. And so, boom, Trivia Night ultimately supported at least one or two tables, 5 or 6 different businesses downtown. You know, and Xander's, when I go, I typically get there between 6:15, 6:30. If I don't have anything going on, I may get there at 6 and just kind of mingle around. But Xander's is slam packed at 6, and then a lot of those people will come over and play trivia after. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just it's this cohesive, co-creative environment that I really, really enjoy about kind of our downtown area. That they really do support each other and kind of help each other do successful things and support each other in their ventures and kind of how they want to expand. And I know Setho, I had him on the podcast, is doing an event, I think the 26th of June. A big downtown event is apparently what it's supposed to be. So I think that whole field is going to start to come to downtown as well too. They started as far as shutting off the streets and having bands and allowing alcohol kind of being able to be walked around, obviously with some containment. But I see it coming, and I think this summertime is going to bring some really, really special things to downtown as far as people being there and present and spending their money and having a damn good time. So it's heading in a really good direction for sure. I've got some kind of rapid fire questions. We'll finish this off. We're in an hour and 45. I'm going to throw some questions at you.
All right, shoot.
And we'll finish it off and get out of here. So let's see. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would it be?
That's a tough question.
Right off the bat.
I would say I'm a risk taker. That'd be 1 word. I've been called an asshole a lot in my life.
Not bad.
So that's another word.
That's their opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. A lot of the times, I give my opinion. I shoot the shit straight, 100%. So if I don't like somebody, I'm quick to draw on. I mean, I'm an asshole. So
as my wife says to me, and I think she got it from her dad. She says, "If you're gonna screw me to my face."
Yeah,
you know
exactly. So I'm straight on it. I would say I'm kind-hearted.
Yeah.
To follow my asshole. I've deep emotion for people and what they want to do with their lives, and I'm I really do want to help people, and I feel like that's kind of one of my biggest things of owning a company is like I want to see my guys and people who are involved with me succeed just as much or more than I want myself to succeed. So I feel like as I go up, I got a lasso behind me with a shit ton of people, and I'm just pulling them with me. Like that's
you've got to have. So this whole asshole empathy mix is absolutely necessary because the asshole is A, somebody else's opinion, and B, it's structure in your life. It's impossible to have a vision and a goal that requires more people than just yourself and move forward without having structure. And some people call that structure an asshole.
Yeah.
Because you know what you want, you know what you don't want. Contrast creates clarity.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, that's just how it is. And like it or not, I'm going in my direction. I've got my vibe. I've got my view on life, and I'm going to go that way. If you're along for the journey, fine. If you're not, let's part ways.
Correct.
That's a good mix, though. If beer, whiskey, wine, or martini for your drink, of
Whiskey,
choice.
wine.
Whiskey, beer, whiskey, wine, or martini.
Beer and whiskey together. I mean, just whatever. I like to party.
Shots and shotguns.
Yeah. Shots and shotguns.
Shots
You've
and
seen it, yeah.
shotguns. Yeah. If you could have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be?
I'd probably say Matthew McConaughey. He's
Good choice, man.
yeah.
That's a good one.
I feel like he's very, very wise. As many people as I look up to, that are business savvy. I'd rather have life advice than business advice.
Absolutely.
I feel like business advice is easier to figure out than really good life advice.
Then how to deal with
Yeah,
bullshit and emotions
and emotion and family and just how
big
to
business and everything else.
I mean,
yeah.
for me, it's like I always am like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what direction am I going? Am I on the right path? And I've been thinking this for years now. And that like I told you earlier in the podcast, it's like when I broke my neck, I was lost, like really lost. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in a dark place, and it was scary, for me and for my family. I mean, I wasn't like abusing drugs or anything like that,
Right.
anything like that. But mentally, like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Like, I'm depressed. Nothing is fulfilling me anymore. So, like, if, it took me time to get out of there, but if I could have sat down with somebody to help me on some guidance, like, that would have been way more better advice than, hey, here's what you need to do with your business. You need to do this, 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 and this. So I think the life advice comes before the business. I think life is first.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
then business follows, because obviously whatever direction you're going with your life and your family should be in the business should be in the same trajectory, because if it's not, then one or the other is going to derail. You're either going to derail your life with your family and everybody, you're going to derail your business with what you're doing. So they're in the same direction. But for me, the life thing is more important, and the business should turn direction to that.
Yeah, because your mindset, you lose your business, you can start another one. You lose your family, that's a whole different ball game there.
That's what I always tell my friends. It's just money. You can always make more.
You always make more. They just print it when they feel like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And money's not.
Yeah, no.
It's a piece of paper. It's
Exactly.
a federal bank
Fugazi,
note.
it's Fugazi.
It's a federal
fairy
bank
dust.
note. Like it's not even real. It's not backed by anything. You know what I mean? And you just gotta know how to manipulate kind of the market just in general. But you found a good wife, got a kid, about to have another, and if that shit ain't straight, the business is gonna be the same way.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. What's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
I don't know.
What's the best piece of advice you give somebody else?
Just do it.
Do it.
Literally. Just do
Keep
it.
moving forward.
Keep moving forward. If you're in a rut, get out of the rut as quickly as you can and get into something else. I think that, people get too bogged down in the day-to-day and don't think about the future. So having a future vision of where you yourself are going and what you want your life to be, and just fucking make it happen.
Action. Massive action.
Massive action. Always have massive action.
And don't be afraid to fail. Like, that's one of the number one reasons, besides attention and just being ADD with what I do, is that, like you, when you said at the beginning of this whole thing, was you want to eventually get to a point to where you're teaching other people how to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal. It's service to others over service to self kind of mentality. And if you don't have that mentality, you're not going anywhere. Because we're a co-creative environment. And I think that we can't do everything alone. Like you were saying, you needed somebody there in that point of, in that valley in your life to not necessarily get you out, but to be there with you, to help you with those questions. And I think that there's a lot of people out there like that. And again, it's where this podcast comes from. Like, I want people to be able to, I've said it over and over, is that public speaking is the number one fear, even over death. I mean, it's people would rather die and not have to deal with potential embarrassment than get on a microphone or get in front of people and say something. And that's something I've always been comfortable with. I've been DJing since I was 15. So I'm obviously very comfortable with a mic and entertaining people and whatever it may be. But I want to, what is it? A rising tide brings up all the ships kind of thing. Like, that's that mentality. Help everybody get what they want, and you'll eventually get everything that you want kind of deal. And action is I don't know what I'm doing. I've said it in several podcasts. I don't fucking know what I'm doing here.
Neither do I, ever.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
I just do it.
I just do, and Jordan Peterson says, aim at something even if you know it's not right, but you not morally wrong, but you need a direction to aim at, or else you're just shooting from the hip.
Yeah. What's the quote? 100% of the shots not taken.
Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Yeah, that's it.
Fail or not, man. I mean, that's just one message I want to get across to people, is that you're, the embodiment of that as well too, of just overcoming this chaos in our life. I mean, like I said, I've got this yin and yang bracelet. It's this order and chaos mixture, and to walk that border and to know that at any point in time, order can emerge out of chaos and chaos can emerge out of order, but you just got to keep fucking going, man. Because if you sit with your thoughts, and your thoughts can get way out of control sometimes. You're just making shit up in your head that's not even real. What is it? 95% of the stuff that you worry about doesn't ever end up happening, if not more than that. So I think it's a real big deal. I mean, both of us have been through, I've been through some real low points in my life too, and it's just keep fucking moving, man. Just find something that you like to do. Whatever makes you feel good, and do it. Whether you make money or not. I'm not making money off 80% of the stuff I do right now, but I've got a lot of momentum going towards some really big shit right now.
That's it.
And it's going to catch at some point. Mm-hmm. At some point. So, cool. You want to plug your socials? How can people find you?
You can find me at, let's see, Prestige Landscape Company on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram, which I don't post a whole lot, but I'm working on it. Prestige Landscape Co. You can also find us at Paragon Homes on Facebook. We do not have an Instagram.
Sweet.
Then you can call me anytime you want at 615-305-9696. I'm available for all calls and talks.
He may not answer during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
We'll call you back in that last hour, yeah.
And in my voicemail it says, if you expect a return phone call, please leave a voicemail and I will call you back. So, hope this helped anybody out that was listening and, on the entrepreneurial journey. Would love to help anybody out that's on it. Like I said, it's taken me a long time to get to this point, and we didn't talk about this much earlier, but I really haven't had any mentors, like big mentors that have helped me. I feel like my friends and my family have been one big mentor, because each one has contributed a little bit here and there when they can. And nowadays I know who to go to for certain questions. And I try not to go to them for the answers that I know I'm going to get. I try to go to them for the answers that I know I don't want to get. The hard answers. Mm-hmm. My dad's been a huge help in everything that I've done in my entire life. He's my business partner with me on the building aspect. He's not an entrepreneur. He is scared shitless to spend his own money, but I pushed him out of his comfort zone into this real estate thing that we do now. But he's been kind of a level head for me since I'm so rambunctious and just I see something I want to do and I'm balls deep in it. So, But if anybody is listening to this podcast has any needs any help with any kind of entrepreneurial stuff, I'd love to help out. So
that's what I love right there. It's just give back. You know what I mean? You give somebody else something that they want, you're going to get everything that you want, and that's it's the only way to live right there. I mean, what are you doing if you're not doing something for somebody else? And this was a great podcast. Like I said, I upgraded my equipment, and I think I can now take incoming calls. So that's going to take a whole new perspective on this. Yeah, I think it would be sweet to have like a little power hour of some like call-in entrepreneur type question stuff. Who knows where it could go, you know what I mean? I'm picking up all that stuff probably tomorrow. I'm going to play with it over the weekend and see where it goes. So for now, that is it. I appreciate you guys listening. I know it's a lot. We're right at 2 hours. So this is definitely the longest podcast that we've had, but definitely some really, really great clips in here that we'll throw out. And so just Your Vibes Podcast Facebook, Your Vibes Podcast Instagram. I do have a TikTok with a couple videos, yourvibespodcast.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Do all that good stuff. And I guess until next time, guys, thanks for listening, and peace out.